just
Yeah.
got a couple screenshots here of what it might be like if you just had, for instance, an article, and if you're trying to represent that article in rich text, I could certainly do that, right? I could put the heading in, I could put the date, I could put, a category and tags, and I could, attach images into there. But there's nothing that really helps my user go through those steps. What if they put the date after the category, and now we've got some inconsistencies there? In HTML content, it's super powerful, as John was saying, but it relies a lot on your editor to kind of know what you want, and maybe gives too much flexibility. If we look at how we might do an article or a blog post here, you can see I've got several different fields: a title, a URL slug, an actual date field with a data type of date, a category dropdown, which is linked over to another list. We've got a tag picker, and we've got an image attachment field. So this gives us a lot more flexibility about how we can reuse this content, but also it makes it a lot clearer to the editor, the person working with this, what they're supposed to do next. It makes their job a lot easier job.
Right. So one other thing just to add on to field types is that people add their fields, they build their models very quickly, and then they kind of move on, start putting their content in, build their relationships, things like that, but they forget about all the properties that you can set with a field. So it's not just about picking the right fields, but picking the right properties. And some of our other slides talk about specific properties like validation and things like that. But other areas like what Joel is showing right here with the category and the tags, those in our system are both linked content. They relate to other content within the system, but they're sub-properties of that linked content that allows it to render differently. So in the category choice here, it's a drop-down, and it allows you to pick a drop-down, which is picking one item. In the tags list here, it's a tag selection box. So you can add multiple relationships. You can change the order of those relationships. So that massively changes the user experience in terms of how they interact with that, whether it's one-to-one, one-to-many, specifically in this case of linked content. But other fields like the images or even the URL slug, the date field, like does the date include a time? In this case, in Joel's picture, it does show a time. Maybe you don't want to give them a time, you just want to give them a date option. These are often all sub-properties of the field. And it's very important when you add a field, you really should look through almost every property and just be like, do I need this? Yes or no? Do I need this? Yes or no? And just try to restrict it down to make it more usable, easier to understand and pick up for someone new.
And as an editor, it's important to know that the content platform itself didn't decide what fields should be here. It was the content architect who configured your system. And so these are things that are configurable for everyone, and they can be changed and they can be optimized.
100%. We talked about that in our last webinar, Joel, about you build everything, get the users in them, get them playing with things. They'll let you know, and they'll start messing stuff up in these things. So do it before you go live, let them play with it. And then they're like, you know what? I put in 200 characters and it errored on me, or it didn't look right in wherever it renders out. So doing that testing, you're able to come back and then add those layers in.